Welcome. My name is Doug Simcox. I'm recording today in Taylorsville, Kentucky, and I'm with our co-host, Mr. Sam Swearingen. Sam, where are you today?
I am in Cafard, New York.
Cafard, New York. Now, Sam and I are riding for the brand, BTC, Beyond the Chutes. You know, riding for the brand, Sam, that was your idea? That's your phrase?
Well, it's one I copied from a lot of other people.
Well, maybe the Cowboys, way back to the Cowboys and John Wayne, right?
Well, where it came from with me was Dick Corey. He's
Okay.
an announcer,
Yep.
trick dragger.
Yep.
And he said it to me one day, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool.
I like
so
that.
It stuck with me.
Sam and I are riding for the brand, BTC. It is Thursday, October 26, 2023. Today, Sam and I catch up, discuss last week's PBR Teams Championship that was in Las Vegas, and we're going to talk about some upcoming events, finals that are headed our way. Now, for all of our listeners, you know, Sam, this is where I usually introduce you. Can you just introduce yourself today?
Well, I can. I'm Sam Swearingen,
Yeah.
and I've had a rodeo company for about 35 years and have mentored some young men that have done very well. Very proud of every one of them. But we have since sold the rodeo company, and now I'm putzing around and doing things like this with you, Doug.
Raising cattle and doing podcasts. And I can't help but notice you missed a small part of your rodeo career. You used to ride saddle broncs, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Enjoyed every minute of it.
Enjoyed every minute of it, absolutely. And for our listeners, Sam, he's the one who taught me how to ride broncs way back in the day, 1990. You know that interview you did of me, Sam, up in Canada?
Yeah.
While we were there, we're putting that up next week. Okay.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So
What a good time.
I like it. You shift to the left seat, if you will, to the driver's seat, put me in the right seat, and just had a lot of fun. Speaking of fun, we get to hang out with ParaSight Systems. We'd like to thank them for their support with our podcast. ParaSight Systems, you can find them at ParasightSystems.com. They've got a coupon they've created just for BTC. It is coupon code BTC023 to get 50% off your testing. And we ought to describe a little bit about what that testing is, Sam. Did you get the kits that I sent you?
I do have the kits.
Okay.
Haven't used them because I've sold my cattle.
You sold everything. You are
pretty much
livestock
sold the
less,
horses.
right?
Well, I still have just a couple out in, a few out in other pasture I haven't brought in yet.
Yeah.
Of young cattle till I get the barn rebuilt. But most 99% from what I usually have is gone.
Is gone. Okay.
So,
And you saw the kit, fairly straightforward. There's an insulated pack. There's a small container, looks like a hockey puck, about that size. There's a freezer pack. So when you get this in the mail, if you order one of these up, you get this in the mail. You're going to take a sample from your animal. Let's say you're doing a horse. Take a sample, put it in that hockey puck plastic container. You're going to put that and a freezer pack, which is frozen. Put that into this insulated pack. Put on the return address label. Send it in to ParaSight Systems. They are going to run it through their brand new all-in-one system. They're going to test it. They're going to send you an email back with a picture telling you exactly what you have for an infestation. You would simply take that thing to your vet, and they will be able to prescribe exactly what you need for your animal. Let's get ahead of these worms. Let's go hunting with a rifle. Let's know exactly what it is we are trying to head off. And ParaSight Systems. Anything you want to add to that, Sam? Pretty easy, I think, to do.
well, it seems pretty straightforward. And the only thing I want to add is, it's like anything in business. You don't know what you're wasting
Yeah, man.
until somebody shows you.
You bet.
So if ParaSight Systems can show you how to save money in the long run, what a great concept.
You bet. You bet. Absolutely. And my daughter Kathleen, she's got some kits she's going to be sending in. You know, she has got right now 4 horses over there, Sam, two yearlings. And word on the street is she just picked up another one from Oklahoma. So I said, that's good. You need more land. Always look for more land.
Land is good, except for tax time.
Exactly. Land is good. Land is good. And she's going to be sending in. So we're going to get some results between her and you and hopefully some of our listeners. I'd love to hear what some of our listeners are finding when they go through the testing. Go to ParaSight, SIGHT, systems.com and order up your kit. Remember the BTC 023, get 50% off. Really interested in getting some data from our listeners. And I love how ParaSight Systems simply matches up with what we're doing here. Some new episodes out, Sam. Last week we dropped 2 episodes. We put the 3rd Rockin' Robbie Hodges episode out. And we also put our catch-up one out there. So 2 episodes. We are at episode 38. This one's going to be episode 39. So if you haven't had a chance, I'm telling you, Sam, and I don't know how our podcasts get up to all these places, but they are on Amazon Music. We are on Google Podcasts. We are, of course, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and YouTube. So we are all over there. And of course we have Beyond the Chutes, CHUTES.show, where you can go find our episodes. This weekend was busy for both of us. We had not only the PBR team events, but I actually flew to Austin, Texas for the weekend and attended the F1 race out there. Got to tell you, I love Austin. Beautiful track. We had great weather, hung out with a bunch of great folks. Eric of ParaSight Systems was there. He kind of arranged the whole thing. We had Terrence. We had Brian. We had a bunch of folks out there, had a lot of fun, had great seats, and watched a lot of really, really good racing. And Circuit of the Americas, called CODA, Circuit of the Americas, about a half hour south, Sam, of south and east of Austin.
Beautiful country.
Beautiful country. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautiful track. They do a really, really nice job there. And then, as I've talked before, here in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be headed to Barber Motorsports Park down there in Birmingham, Alabama. I love Barber. What a beautiful track. It's almost looks like a golf course. They take such great care. They got sculptures all over the place. But we got a final event coming up for that. We got some brand new suspension. We got new power upgrade. Picked up a little more horsepower, and really looking forward to that run. About 6 hours. I'll take the motor home, and they let us stay right at the track, so it's really a nice weekend to hang out down there. And I'm guessing the weather shouldn't be so bad down there, Sam. Mid-November in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Alabama is one of my favorite states in the world. I just enjoy it so much, and the weather is usually really good. I have some friends down there, and it is one of my favorite places to be.
You bet. Well, you got to come see this track, Sam. And we talk about it every time. We got to get you back in the car. Really, I'd love to get you in the left-hand seat, in the driver's seat, and we'll put you in the Celica, and it's just, you race go-karts, right?
Well, not really.
You know what I mean. You've driven
I drive them around.
Yeah.
Smashed them up when we were kids,
But
usually we run it till it breaks and didn't know how to fix them. So.
But when we went to Benton, we always went and ran that go-kart.
Oh, yeah, that was big fun.
You know what this is like, exactly like that when you drive the Celica. Anyway, had a listener question. Dara out of Olathe, Kansas calls in, or I should say texts me, and he asked, what we use a lot of jargon on this show, right? We're rodeo folks. You've been involved in rodeo, I don't know, 45 years, 50 years, 60 years. I'm not sure. But he asked a question, and it just reminds us we need to slow down a little bit and be a little bit more descriptive, maybe. But he asks, what is a rank bull? Okay. And yesterday I had a meeting in town, met with a very nice young lady by the name of Jennifer, and she really enjoys listening to our podcast. Although she says, I don't always know what you're talking about, but she just enjoys, the conversations and that sort of thing. So this reminds me every so often, Sam, we use a lot of words, and maybe we need to slow down and challenge each other and say, wait, what did you just say? What is a rank bull for our listeners, Sam?
Well, rank bull is usually one that marked very high, 45 or higher, out of a possible 50. See, now I slowed down and thought about it. Yeah, the bulls are marked 1 to 25 from each judge.
And there's two judges, basically.
Two judges.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes there's more than that, and then they divide it up to get a possible 50 score. They're marked 1 to 25 from each judge, so a possible high score of 50. And the rider is marked 1 to 25 from each judge with a possible score of 50. So the best score you could ever come up with would be 100.
Okay.
And that's never been reached in the PBR.
Right.
It was done in the PRCA 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Or so. And when you watch that ride, it was a very good ride, but now it would be about a 80-point ride in the PBR.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That much of a difference.
I'm not putting anything down. It was just a good bull and a good ride, in that day, it was outstanding bull and an outstanding ride, but a rank bull, getting back to your question, sorry.
Yeah.
Rank bull, and they can mean hard to ride.
Okay.
Normally in the rodeo world, they pay you when it's easy, and not saying it's easy, but one that jumps out and turns back and just is right there, and you can ride them all day. A rank bull can also be one that just scatters out through there, leaps in the air, and turns this way and turns that way, and makes it very difficult to stay on. One that turns back and moves forward all the time is a lot harder to ride.
What does that mean, moving forward? I've heard this before, moving ahead when they buck, or moving forward when they buck.
Yeah. If they spin in a little tight circle and just kind of stay there, it's a lot easier. As they're spinning, if they're leaping way forward, it tends to rock you back on your pockets, so to say, pockets of your pants. And then when they turn, now you're back, and it's hard to get in position to make that corner.
I see.
So, and that's probably what bucks off 70% of the riders through the year, as they get back behind them, get beat out of the chutes, so they're behind to start with. It is the hardest position to recover from, because your arm gets straight and you're strung out, and then when they move, it just kind of catapults you out of there.
Yeah. So when you talk about getting beat out of the chute, so the cowboy's sitting in the chute gate, I should say, got his hand in the rope, may have his arm up on the back of the chute or the chute gate, whatever it may be, and he nods his head and that gate opens. What's it mean to get beat out of the chute?
If you aren't in time with the bull as he leaves and forward, you're already behind.
I see.
So your arm gets straight right off the bat, and these bulls are unforgiving. They don't say, "Hey, come on, you're late, get up here,
catch up."
Yeah. So you're on your pockets and your arms straight. That's when you're beat out of the chute.
Okay. And another term we hear sometimes, that bull is trashy. What does that mean?
That means usually means he's going from side to side as he's going down the arena, not doing anything consistent where you can try to ride him. Think what he's going to do next. And that's the thing about bull riding. You can't think about what they're going to do. If you do, it's too late. You just have to react. So to try to stay in the middle of one of those bulls that's going from side to side as it goes down the arena or turns back and spins and then jumps out of it and goes the other way and then jumps out of it again, that's what they would consider a trashy bull bind.
Okay. And hop, skip, walk on their front end. We've heard those terms too. Some of the commentators will talk about.
Yeah. And that's all about the timing of the bull. That if they hop and skip, that means they'll hop on their front end and walk a couple steps and then kick. So it's the rhythm is not there. There's nothing to stay in time with that bull because they're bouncing on their front end, and twice they might jump a little bit and then do it again and then kick. So that's what the hop skip means. And there again, the timing's off because now you're right in the middle of things. Getting a kick because it boom, boom, two little bounces.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All about timing then. All right. Very good. Well, thank you to our listeners. Do send in your questions. We are always interested in slowing down and making sure that we're describing this world of rodeo and bull riding correctly. I love, Sam, that we got folks listening that don't know a ton about bull riding or a ton about rodeo. And I think we have a responsibility to help educate.
Well, and that's kind of what this is about.
Yeah.
We're trying to build new fans and educate them the best we can.
You bet.
How good we're doing, I don't know, but hopefully they'll keep asking the questions so we can keep learning and what to say to answer them.
You bet. Absolutely. Well said. All right, moving on. How is Dalen? Riding the hand, shoulder, groin, general physical condition?
When I talked to him after he rode out there Friday, he said he felt good. He said his shoulder's a little sore, but not bad. And he is going to Canada this weekend to ride at
he is.
Canadian PBR.
Okay.
So,
okay.
And he said he might even enter some rodeos when he comes back. Depends how he feels when he gets back from there. And he hasn't gone to rodeos since Cheyenne a couple of years ago.
You bet.
So
you bet. No, that'd be great.
That was encouraging that he's feeling good enough to do, keep getting on.
You bet. Well, that is encouraging. Well, good. Keep us informed and opens up the weekend great in his first game. 88 3/4 points, Sam. Just a neat ride and not quite enough when it all got done. They did lose then. I'm going to shift a little bit to our bracket. We had Carolina beating Arizona in that first game. And before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about, of course, this was last Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Vegas. And you set up a lot of your bracket or some of your bracket around the fact that we thought Kaique Pacheco and Mason Taylor, who'd been out with injuries for Nashville, were actually coming back. I was surprised to see that they did not compete this weekend, Sam.
Yeah, that was the information I had. They were going to be riding there. And probably if they weren't 100%, why do it? It kind of makes sense, why come back if you're just going to re-injure something. But we had the information that they would be riding, and no excuses. I picked wrong. I picked bad.
Well,
but
yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah, and really, if you come down to it, I'm looking at your brackets. You said Texas Rattlers were going to beat the Missouri Thunder, and they did. They did. Texas Rattler wins their first game. Then was Oklahoma and Nashville, and you said that Nashville would beat Oklahoma. And I'm looking at the bracket, and of course, Oklahoma beats Nashville, but you realize by 1/2 of a point. Each team rode 3 bulls. You got to wonder if Kaique Pacheco, if Mason Taylor was there, how that changes up just a little bit.
Yeah. If. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, I really thought Nashville would kind of be a figure in the equation because if they were back, it would lift their team, if nothing else.
Right, right.
And they went and rode 3 bulls without them, so that's pretty good. But a 1/2 a point, you know, it's a toss-up. So.
You bet. And one other name that I've not put on the list that just came to mind is for Nashville is Chase Outlaw.
Chase Outlaw and also Jess Lockwood.
There you go. Yeah.
But we knew those 2 weren't going to be riding, and but they still bring a lot of respect to their teammates, and
you bet.
I think gives them some effort in what they're doing.
Yeah. And then in the final game of the night in regular season or regular competition, if you will, before we get into the last chance, Arizona against Carolina Cowboys. You, of course, said Carolina Cowboys should win that. Arizona Ridge Riders win with 4 rides. Average on those 4 rides is 86 points. Carolina Cowboys ride 3 rides, an average of 88.5 points. Talk a little bit about that game, Sam. The Ridge Riders and the Carolina Cowboys.
Carolina, of course, we on paper were stacked to do whatever and win, go all the way to the top, but it didn't happen. And they would have beat there was only 2 teams that rode 4 bulls the whole weekend. So they would have beat everybody else but that one game. So it just didn't happen for them.
And matchups, we talk injuries. What would you say was and if I'm not remembering correctly, Josh Frost was 7.2 on the watch, I believe, on his bull that night.
Actually 0.8 of a second from getting a score, and it's a snap of the fingers, but he didn't get there, and he probably should have. That bull got a little long at the end and got his arms stretched out, and threw him off. But they tried. I mean, it wasn't no lack of effort, and if he had rode that bull, they'd have won. But if just what it was, they got beat. They got beat by a good team that after they beat them, I thought would go very far, and they did.
Okay.
But they were a good team.
And then that set up the last chance game on Friday night, put Missouri Thunder in there. They're number 8 seed coming in. Nashville Stampede, number 7. And Carolina Cowboys, number 6. And Missouri Thunder pulls it out. They make 2 rides to Nashville's 1 ride and Carolina's 1 ride. And Josh Frost scores 89 points on the bull there. Talk a little bit about that playoff. I know Dalen, there were 2 re-rides in that game.
Yeah, the Carolina Cowboys got 2 re-rides. One was Cooper Davis, which he did not get on his re-ride. They had somebody else get on the bull, and Dalen's, which he did. And it neither one of them got the job done. It was if either one of them would have rode their bull, they'd have got in there. But Josh was the only one this time to ride, and he didn't make it in the first round. So the cards didn't fall their way. went to the casino and they had 20 and the dealer had 21.
You bet. You bet. You bet. And Dalen got a reride. Looked like he a little bit of banged up on that first bull.
Yeah, what happened, the bull turned back pretty quick and Dalen rode him around the corner real good.
Mm-hmm.
And about the third jump, the bull hit his head into the bucking chute, which in return slammed Dalen's head into the bucking chute. And it did. He was bleeding from the mouth or the face there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But you could see him going over, and I thought, don't do it, Dalen, don't do it.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
Meaning,
But, yeah.
don't get back on is what you're thinking in that moment.
Right.
Okay.
And the turnaround is so quick. I didn't know how his head was clear because
Mm-hmm.
he's had so many concussions that it doesn't take much to
Mm-hmm.
make him a little off. So but I knew when I watched him, kind of walk back there, and as he walked, you could see him getting better and better out of the things were coming more into focus. And
Okay.
I said, oh,
Okay.
he's going to get on, and
Okay.
he did. And
Okay.
he got bucked off pretty quick.
Mm.
There was the bull turned back to the right and beat him around the corner.
Yeah.
And that was
And
it.
and what that means is for our listeners, Dalen's a left-hand rider. The bull, what was to left the chute to the left, so into Dalen's hand. We've talked about how better odds if we can get a bull to buck into most of the cowboys' hands. And what was it? Second jump, third jump, the bull stopped and went to the right.
Yeah, the bull went out there about 2,
Mhm.
and I really didn't make a big move to the left. I thought, okay, go to the left, go to the
Mhm.
left, and then he
Mhm.
just went to the right, and Dalen
Okay.
didn't go with him.
Okay.
He
Okay.
just didn't go with the bull, and it was over.
Yeah. Now, one other thing for our listeners, sometimes they'll talk about how the bull can feel you out of position or in position or whatever the case may be, and they can, I guess they're smart enough to say, okay, we're going to mix this up a little bit. I feel you a little bit to the inside of the spin, let's say. I'm just going to reverse directions. You think that's possible that these bulls think like that?
No, I don't think it's possible. I know it's possible. There is no doubt in my mind.
Okay.
And and bulls and horses are more so.
Mm-hmm.
If they feel you hanging off the side, you can watch when they buck, they'll just jump sideways a long ways if they feel you hanging over there.
Mm-hmm.
And bulls will do the same thing. If they feel you getting ready to catch that turn back into their hand,
Mm-hmm.
if you're hanging that way, where if they do it, they'll pick you up and put you in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just scoot the other way.
Okay.
Now, in Dalen's case, it didn't look like he was out of position.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He was kind of sitting right in the middle.
Yeah.
But whether he was expecting the bull to go the other way, and like I said, you can't think, you have to react. So
Yeah.
if he thought, oh man, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. It's over.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, this brings up another question around rerides. Right now, the current rule says you have to declare which rider is going to do the reride. First, do you want to reride? Are you going to, in this case, he got bucked off or he came off before the whistle, so there were no points awarded. So if there are points, I have a choice, 65 points, whatever. I have a choice. Do I take the reride or do I take the score? And the team manager makes that decision. The coach makes that decision. But if a reride is offered and we say, okay, yes, we are going to take a reride, the team coach has to declare who's getting on before they know the bull that they're getting on. Okay?
Right.
And yeah, go ahead and talk about that.
And this team is set up to match the contestants to the bulls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it. With a reride, and getting back to basic, a reride is simply getting a do-over, a mulligan, because the bull didn't perform right, or he went down, or there's different reasons to get a reride. But once that is given in this team concept, you have to pick who's getting on the bull. And this is something that was brought up to me last night talking with Mark Richmond. Is I said, well, they don't know what bull they're getting on. He said, oh, they kind of knew. They're out there in the back pens. They can see what they are. I said, but that doesn't, it can be any one of those 5 bulls in that
Five
pen,
bulls.
so you don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, they'll be in separate pens because they don't house them together because they'd fight. But so it can be any one of those bulls, and you don't know what it is. And with this team concept, you can match the riders up to the bulls. And I think in my mind why they don't allow that in the reride scenario is because it would take too much time. Oh, what bull is it? Okay, this guy might, and in my mind, if you just took that, okay, you got 30 seconds to put a rider on the bull that you have. This is the bull you got.
Who you
bull
putting
number
on?
23, Wild Willie.
Yeah.
And you know what direction it goes because you'd have the homework done ahead of time. And that's the one you got. Who you going to put on them? You got 30 seconds to tell me. And then it would help the teams that get rerides.
Okay.
And the rerides are set up to win on, so that they don't give another reride.
Right.
So you pretty much count on the bulls in the reride pen.
Yep.
But I think it would make it more fair in the team concept. You said, okay, here it is. You got 30 seconds to give me a name. This is your bull. You got 30 seconds. All right. Now, go.
Okay. And that does make sense. So hopefully for all the PBR officials that are listening, the board of directors, whatever it might be, our recommendation is make sure that let's change that rule so the teams know what is the first reride, second reride, etc., so they can make good, intelligent decisions. And to your point, Sam, they're drawing 5 bulls for the team to start, and the coach gets to determine who goes on what. So it really does keep with that theory, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah, that's the difference,
All right, let's take a look at round 2, which was Saturday night in Las Vegas. We had the Austin Gamblers, number 1 seed. Remember, they did not have to play. The number 1, the number 2 seeds do not have to play games on Friday, so they've been sitting back and watching. And the Austin Gamblers, and the Missouri Thunder, and they both make 2 rides. Both teams make 2 rides. However, the Austin Gamblers win 177 3/4 to 174 3/4. So 3 points difference. They advance. Anything you want to say about that game, Sam? Of course, Jose Vitorlemi comes back strong. Anything that stood out for you on this game, Sam? Austin Gamblers and Missouri Thunder.
Yeah, it's the thing that surprised me was Dalton Castle did not ride his bull. He looked very sore, and I thought they would have a good matchup for him because Dalton really rides outstanding, and if they can get that down, then they got a much better chance to win.
You bet.
They got Jose at the end. If they match Dalton up with one that he'll ride, their chances go up immensely that the team will win.
You bet.
But he bucked off both his bulls and looked very sore to me. I don't know if he is, but just looked sore.
Okay. So Austin Gambler takes that win, puts them into the semifinals for Sunday. Missouri Thunder, the number 8 seed, loses, puts them into the last chance game on Saturday night. Next game, Kansas City Outlaw, again, our number 2 seed. They didn't ride on Friday night, and they go up against the Arizona Ridge Riders, the team that beat Carolina on Friday night. And the outcome, Sam, we thought that we thought Carolina Cowboys would come in against the Kansas City Outlaws. However, Arizona comes in and they win. They beat the number 2 seed with 160 points on 2 rides, and the Kansas City Outlaws, Sam, makes 1 ride, 86 3/4 points.
Yeah, that didn't surprise me very much.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City looked really good when they're good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when the matches up work, Kansas City has been outstanding. But that the Ridge Riders were really kind of stacked this time, and after beating Carolina, I think their hearts was in it. 4 rides to beat Carolina out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And I think moving on, they had everything swinging their way. They were ready to go and move to win.
You bet. You bet. Casio Diaz did not disappoint, comes out, and he makes the 1 ride for the Kansas City Outlaws, but only 1 ride against 2. So that puts Kansas City into the losers bracket, into that last chance game on Saturday night, and Arizona Ridge Rider is going to advance to the semifinals on Sunday. Texas Rattlers, Sam, you've talked a lot about this team. You like the Texas Rattlers. Number 3, they go against number 4 Oklahoma, and they beat Texas Rattlers win 170 points to 87. Texas Rattlers had 2 rides. Oklahoma Freedom had 1.
Yeah, so and the Texas Rattlers, I thought would ride another bull, and Oklahoma was struggling.
Mm-hmm.
They rode pretty good the first, but they really started to struggle after that.
Mm-hmm.
You could see it.
Matchup, soreness, what do you just momentum? What are you thinking?
Well, I think the biggest thing is Texas knows the bulls as well as anybody. That's been his job
Okay.
for 20 years in the PBR. I don't know. I'm just throwing the number out there. And he knows the matches up to make it the best. And this is a huge part of what we do. That's why I'd like the rerides to at least know so you can match it to somebody. But that's huge. And they've got try, they got heart, and they got the coach that knows the bulls better than anybody.
So you're talking about Cody Lambert, gentleman you've known for a number of years. And when you say he knows the bulls and 20 years of doing it, what does that mean exactly, Sam, for our listeners?
Okay. Well, that's a good point. So getting back to thinking that people know what we're talking about, he was the livestock commissioner, which picked the bulls to go to all the PBR events.
Mm-hmm.
So he picked the bulls to go to Madison Square Gardens. He picked the bulls to go to the PBR finals. So he would look at bulls and study them for all this time, because that was his job.
Mm-hmm.
What are the best bulls to take to these places? You know, Madison Square Gardens a little different, harder to get bulls to because of the location and the weather.
Mm-hmm.
But he got to look at all the bulls from across the country, and not just got to look at them, but studied them to say, okay, going there. So if somebody said the name of the bull, he knew what it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no surprises.
Right.
So, and I think that's probably the biggest part of the team's event is matching up correctly.
You bet. You bet. Okay, excellent. So thank you for that. The last chance game then on Saturday night, the three losers that came forward, and what they call the last chance game, that put the number 2 Kansas City Outlaws and the Oklahoma Freedom, number 4, and Missouri Thunder for the second night in a row. They're in this last chance game. And son of a gun, Sam, all 3 teams make 2 rides, and the Missouri Thunder wins out with 180 points. So 2, and that was one of the questions on one of our predictions, was would there be 2 teams who fight back through both last chance games? And the answer was yes. Missouri Thunder comes up. That puts them into, at this point, into the semifinals on Sunday. We'll talk about that in a minute. Talk a little bit about that last chance game.
That was an outstanding game to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it had you very excited because you didn't know who was going to win. And Missouri, those kids, Maston was on fire, rode outstanding, 90 points, and somebody else made a 90-point bull ride. So it was just really good watching.
You bet. And just to kind of tie back now to your predictions, we said Nashville would be in that last chance. They got eliminated before that. Kansas City Outlaws, we had said yes, they're going to be in this losers bracket, and we would have them. You would have them winning out. But as it turns out, Missouri Thunder rolls through 2 last chance games, and at this point, Missouri Thunder is ridden now in 4 games, Sam, at the end of Saturday night.
Missouri was the shock of everybody. There have been a lot of games all year that they did not ride a bull. And here the guys stepped up and kept trying and did very well, but they've gone through 4 games to get to the big game is number 5. I guess every game's a big game because
you bet.
When you're in the last chance bracket, you're either win or you're done. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on to Sunday, game number 9, semifinals. We had the Austin Gamblers, number 1. They had one coming in, number 1 seed, and against the 4-game team, number 8 seeded Missouri Thunder. Austin Gamblers make 3 rides, and the Missouri Thunder makes 2 rides. Thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I wouldn't have gave Missouri a chance, but they really put their heart into it and did very well. Really tried, and Austin had a couple guys step up really good. Had an awful nice pen of bulls, I thought, for their team. They were set up to win, and they took advantage of it and moved on.
Yep. So that puts Austin Gamblers into the championship game. That sends Missouri Thunder to the 3rd place game later in the day. Next semifinal game, we've got the number 3 Texas Rattlers. Cody Lambert coached. He's up against the number 5 Arizona Ridge Riders. And the Texas Rattlers win out again in the semifinals, which is going to advance them to the championship game. 2 rides by the Texas Rattlers. Arizona Ridge Riders, 0 rides.
That really surprised me. I was very surprised the way they were really riding. Rode 4 in their first game. I thought that they had a great chance to win this, and they just couldn't put it together, whether they didn't match up right or what. They just didn't do it. They're back against the wall, and they did not ride a bull, and that really surprised me.
You bet. So that puts Texas Rattlers into the final championship game. They're going to match up against the number 1 seed Austin Gamblers, and that puts Arizona Ridge Riders against the Missouri Thunder in the 3rd place game. And Sam, Arizona answers the call. They make 4 rides, to your point. They make 4 rides in that third place game. Missouri Thunder doesn't get a ride.
A little too late.
Right.
They make their 4 rides like that. And they're the only team that made 4 rides all weekend. They did it in the first game and they did it in the last game. Just don't know why they stubbed their toe so bad in the semifinals. So
Yep.
It is what it is. It's not easy. And it's about the matchups.
Yeah.
It is all about the matchups.
And that's, we talk about the matchups, but that's still about luck of the draw, right?
Well, yes.
Because the
luck
pen of 5.
The draw per pen.
right.
To the pen.
Right.
And so it takes some of the luck of the draw because there's got to be some of those 5 in there that you're going to ride.
Right.
Something.
Right.
There should be.
Right.
But it didn't go their way.
Yeah. And for our listeners, when we talk about draw, Sam, there's all these bulls that are put into the draw, and the bulls are drawn at random, right? Blindfolded, if you will. They're drawn at random, and they say, okay, Sam, you're the coach of this team. Here are your 5 bulls that have been drawn at random from you out of this pen of 40 or whatever it might be, 50. You then sit down, pull your pencil out, start to match these bulls up against what you know of the bull. Cody Lambert, as you said, is the master when it comes to this. This bull does this, he does this. He might be trashy, he might be rank, he might be left, he might be right. And you match it up with your riders. And we saw a lot of riders coming in and leaving, meaning certain riders would come in and maybe only ride one game, and then somebody else comes in for the following game. So there was some, I don't know if I'd call it substitution, but there wasn't just a set starting lineup, Sam.
And Texas did that better than anybody. Just because your guy is good, you don't put him on there if he's better than the other rider and the bull doesn't fit him. That's what Texas did. I think they used more people than probably any other team. I think they used eight guys got on bulls out of the 5. So three different bulls they didn't like the matchup, and they stuck 3 different guys in there. So they did the best job of that because they won the championship.
Yeah. So Texas Rattlers makes 4 rides in the championship game, the final game of the weekend. So the number 3 seed Texas Rattlers beat the Austin Gamblers 4 rides to 3 rides.
Yes. And that didn't surprise me. When Dalton did not ride to his ability, like he was sore or something, I didn't give them a big chance. But in the same token, the other guys did step up to the plate. And when you ride 3 bulls, you usually win. And it just, Texas did their job and did it very well the whole way through. Texas was on a mission. And they got it done.
Put their head down and away they go. So tying back to some predictions, there were 12 games. We did the math. There were 130 rides total, not counting re-rides. 130 total rides. And I said, okay, Sam, before we go in, we did this last Thursday, how many 90-point plus rides do you think will be on the weekend? And you thought there would be 9. I challenged you. I thought that was maybe a bit low. I have to admit it. I would have went for the over on that. However, there were actually 4 rides. 2 90-point rides, 1 90.5-point ride, and a 92.5-point ride, Sam.
Yeah, it was less than I thought it would be, and I thought they were marking a little low. Maybe it's because of what I predicted, but I just thought there'd be 90 more of them, and there was some outstanding rides. I mean, I thought this event all all done was great watching, great
Good,
for the spectators.
good,
So
good. And we talked a little bit about, not having a set starting lineup. And the 92.5 point ride, Sam, came from Wingston Henrique da Silva in game 8. And he hadn't gotten on prior to that. That was the only ride he made for the weekend. He goes 92.5 points. And I just want to point out there were 7 89-point rides. 189.5. Come on, a half a point, and 189.75 points.
it is crazy how many 89-point rides they had. It's like, oh, you can't bump it up a little to help my prediction here? What's going on?
Right.
But it just seemed like they were afraid to get over that threshold.
Yep.
And
Yep.
As long as they're consistent, it's okay.
You bet.
You
bet.
It's all right.
And you saw consistency?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty well judged. Of course, there's always something you could say that was wrong, but I thought it was pretty well judged through and through.
And Wingston's 92.5 points was truly the ride of the weekend per what you watched?
Yeah, that bull really bucked, really, really strong, and he wasn't super hard to ride. Usually he is. That bull usually does something to get you off his back no matter what. But he was a little more rider friendly, really got in the air. I mean, way in the air. And that gives you time to get back to your spot.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
he made an outstanding ride. I thought 92 might even been a little light. He could
Really?
be 93, 94 all day long.
Okay.
It was an outstanding bull ride.
Okay. And the only ride and the only game he even, the only ride he even attempted. So that says a lot about how these coaches are thinking about these games and these matchups. And they'll go, they'll go pretty deep, it sounds like, or they'll move around their lineup, I should say. How many games, I asked, will be won with the perfect ride? So 5 for 5 on a team. And you said none, and you were correct. No one went 5 for 5 in a particular game. However, there were 3 games that were won with 4 rides. You talk about 3 being the man. If I can win 3 games, odds are I'm going to advance pretty deep into the tournament. There were 3 games that were won with 4 rides, Sam. Pretty lot of consistency there.
Yeah, they rode a lot of bulls this weekend. All in all, they rode a lot of bulls, and it was really good watching. When one team rides 3 and the other one rides 4 to win the championship, that's great.
You bet.
That's just amazing for the spectators.
You bet. And then I asked, how many games will be won with 1 ride for a team? And remember, it could be I make 1 ride, it's 89 points. You make 1 ride, it's 88 points. Still, that's what I was looking for. And you said none, and you were absolutely correct. However, there were 4 games. They all lost, but there were 4 games that had 1 ride, and there were 2 games that had 0 rides. And we saw that with Arizona in the game that mattered there.
Yeah. And then they turn around and ride 4 the next one.
Right, 4. So. They made history on both sides.
Yeah. That's the way it goes.
Yeah. And then we talked a little bit about, I raised a question. I don't even know where it came from. I guess just looking at the structure, and I asked, would anybody have to ride through both last chance qualifiers? You said no. And son of a gun, Missouri Thunder won both Friday and Saturday last chance qualifiers. They made 6 games total for the weekend, Sam.
Yeah, that's a lot of riding on these bulls. That's 3. You're getting on 2 bulls a day.
Yep.
And if you don't change the lineup, and that's a lot of riding on these bulls that really are the best in the world.
Yep. Yep.
Very, very tough.
You bet. And then for your finals MVP prediction, Sam, you said Dalen, of course. He starts it out great, 88 3/4 points. He's on his way, does what he needs to do in that first game. However, Joao Ricardo Vieira for the Texas Rattler goes 4 for 4, Sam. 351 points total. Gives him an average of about 88 points per ride, which is a pretty big number. What'd you think of Joao's performance for the weekend?
And 88-point average is an outstanding job on 4 bulls, just outstanding. And I think goes back to Cody Lambert knowing the bulls better than anybody and matching up. When he puts Joel JRV on one, you almost know he's going to ride him because that sets up the whole system. The whole thing is, okay, we get this one guaranteed, nothing's guaranteed, but 90% chance he's going to ride this bull. That puts us on a roll and gets us started the right direction. And he rode every one.
Absolutely.
You know?
And then number 2, Sam, we had Philip Furlan with 348, Missouri Thunder. He goes 4 for 5. And remember, they had a shot at 6 of them, but he gets on 5 bulls during the weekend. He rides 4 of them. He places second. Cade Madsen, young man you want to talk a little bit about, he goes 3rd in the points MVP with 346 and rides for the Missouri Thunder. Also goes 4 by 6. Sam, he got on every single bull that you could possibly get on. 6 bulls that weekend, rides 4 of them. What do you think of Cade?
Oh, Cade's just an outstanding young man. Outstanding. When I met him and his brother, I took some horses to a rodeo for Cord McCoy last year, and they were both there. They weren't even entered, but they were getting on because Cord needed some help in the bull riding, and just got to meet him and talk to him out back, and just really good young men, both gentlemen, just what you want as a parent. And to the next step, Cade is now going on a mission trip for the next 2 years, I believe.
Really?
He is leaving he's putting everything behind him that he has worked his whole life for to go out to do something for the Lord. And
wow.
That just says so much of what kind of people there is in this industry.
You bet.
You know?
You bet. Well, excellent. That's great to hear, and thank you for sharing that, Sam. Wow. Okay. And then 4th place was Jose Vitor Lemmy. He rides 3 for 3 and averages 89 points per ride, Sam. A little over 89 points. He goes 3 for 3. He rode all that he could ride because of the 1 game seed. Did the 1 game buy cost him?
More than likely. Yes.
Okay.
Nobody will ever know because they didn't have it, but more than likely it did. And that is another issue I have with and they're not giving money out for the MVP, so I guess it doesn't matter that much, but they probably will in time, and make a big deal of it, as they should. So now you're almost going to have to look at your best score on 3.
Best score on 3? Is that what you do? Eliminate 1?
Well, yeah, who knows what the next year's concept will be with more teams coming in. I heard Florida was going to have one, but that's just a rumor. But who knows what the concept will be. But as it goes right now, if you're going to be the MVP, the one with more chances, which would have been Missouri,
Yep.
have a way more chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
And to make it legit, you take your, say you get 6 rides, well, you take your best on 3. You got
Best
3
on 3.
chances to better your score.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I think that kind of levels the playing field.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And Joao was named the MVP, Sam, of the finals. So there's some interesting conversations to be had here. And when you have a conversation with the PBR board, I know you're talking with them or talking with them. I guess really I'm the one talking about you talking with them about getting the team in New York, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
I guess I'm the one that's making all that noise as if it could be true. But when you have a conversation with the PBR board, please bring this up.
Okay.
Okay.
And talking about JRV,
Yeah. Yeah.
I am kind of curious to see where he goes now,
Mm-hmm.
because he's always been the bridesmaid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's never won the world.
Mm-hmm.
He's been second as much as anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He has never cracked where he won the average at the PBR finals. He's always right there knocking the door,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody's opened it.
Mm-hmm.
And now he kind of had it open.
Okay.
To see where that takes him mentally, I'm curious.
Okay.
I'm curious.
So put your coaching hat on, your team coaching hat, and he rides for you. Okay. You're the coach. What or whatever team you want to pick, put whatever in your mind you want to put as your guys. What would you advise your team to do as they enter the individual season, which is going to open up here in a few weeks?
I would advise him
Mm-hmm.
to forget about getting the bulls picked for you. Okay, you rode your bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we picked them, which is huge, don't get me wrong, but now you have to block that out of your mind because you're not picking them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, do the same thing you did when we picked them for you.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to move forward,
Mm-hmm.
because don't let that be a mental block to what you're doing, because it's very easy to say, oh man, now we didn't, I can't get on what I want, and just go and do your job, because what we did helped. Learn from it and keep moving forward.
You bet. You keep moving forward. Absolutely. So let's step back about 30,000 feet. We touched a little bit on the tournament structure, possibility of Florida coming in. We talk about the first and second team having seeds and getting them buys on the first 2 games. So just looking at it, and I got to throw in, Sam, it's, and you brought this up last time, it's an entertainment event and it's a sporting event. Okay. So from the crowds and entertainment and from those that are hardline sporting events, any tournament structure, any recommended changes you would make after watching these finals in Vegas?
See, it's different from most sporting events that you go to. Usually they have one game 1 week, and then, a few days later, like the World Series. So you go for one and you're not there all weekend. The spectators are going, and when their team is done the first or second day and they don't get to watch them again, they're spending a lot of money and they're done. And I guess that's part of life, but you want to keep them involved as long as you can. So I think they'll probably put a structure in where the teams won't be done the first day. There might be a second chance game and then a third chance game.
Really?
If you can come back.
Okay.
I don't know how they'll do it, but I think they're going to try to give the fans more reason to stick around. Because you don't want to spend $3,000 and go and watch, your team
Right.
lose twice and you're done.
Right,
You
on
go
the
home.
first night or whatever the case may be. So then how was it from an entertainment standpoint? And this leads me into the crowds. What did you think?
I thought the bull ridings themselves were outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
Mm-hmm.
thought they rode a lot of bulls. I just thought that from the spectators, you know, if your team didn't win, at least you were enjoying what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I thought it was really good that way. I asked some people that were there about the crowds and how they got into it
Mm-hmm.
with their teams. He said it was good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he
Mm-hmm.
said they were really rooting their teams on, and some people were just there for the riders, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
team concept seems to be catching on pretty
Okay.
well.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, that wraps up the PBR finals this last weekend in Vegas. 3 days of great competition. And in a few weeks, it opens up back again, Sam. And then now we're headed to the individual finals. And we'll be talking about the individual championship, I should say. So we'll be talking about that, how that looks as we go down the road here a little bit. I want to shift back. You know, we talked last time about the PRCA Buck and Bull of the Year and just what a big honor that is. This isn't Buck and Bull, the finals, Sam, of the NFR. This is the Bucking Bull of the Year. Bayou Bengal. Dalen buys him, starts the campaign, and Pete Carr picks him up, and son of a gun, he's chosen Buck and Bull of the Year. What a great honor. Now, Bayou Bengal's not the only bull that Dalen has owned, Sam, that has made a name for himself. He had a bull, Roman, who went to the PBR finals 2 times, and if I'm not mistaken, Dalen was 16 when he took that, and he took the bull, right? And he was behind, and he was the bull man for both those finals. Am I correct in that?
Yes, yes, he was. Dalen's always had a love for bulls, and he, he he's got outstanding judgment,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When we watched Roman be bucked at the sale as a calf, he they videoed it and sold him the next day, and he was saving his money just for that bull.
Okay.
And it worked out.
Okay. And where did he come from? What sale did he go through? What's the breeding? Why did this bull catch his attention?
He had a lot of kick. He had a lot of color. He's a very pretty muscled up bull, and he was just young when he bought him.
Mm-hmm.
The bull came from Carpenter. They're just bull breeders. They don't have a rodeo company, as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
I actually bought a breeding bull from them just for that reason, because of the way Roman turned out. I might have bought the breeding bull the next year.
Okay.
But he had a lot of kick and a lot of show, and just caught Dalen's eye, and he wanted him.
You bet.
And ended up with him. And it came from Texarkana Buck and Bull sale.
Okay. Okay.
And same place Bayou Bengal came from, different breeders.
Okay.
But the same sale.
Okay. Okay. And Dalen is 16 years old. He's got enough money to buy a bull. Was there an issue with him being the one handling the bull at the PBR? I mean, he's 16. He's a minor.
Well, at the PBR, stock contractors don't really do much.
Right.
Except for flank their bulls and get them to the event.
Right. But he's up behind the buck and chutes, right? He's up shoulder to shoulder with these world champions at this point.
No, there wasn't an issue at all.
Okay.
If Cody Lambert selected the bull to be there, you thought he was good.
Okay.
And somebody that had as much knowledge and desire as Dalen had, it didn't matter. He was gonna flank him to be the best he could be.
You bet.
And nobody could have done it any better. And some people could have done it worse, but he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. And how many outs did Roman have at these finals, and how did he do?
The first one he went to, he had 2 outs in the rank pen.
Mm-hmm.
And which means the hardest ride bulls
Mm-hmm.
in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And he got rode once.
He did.
The first time he'd ever been rode since we had him a whole time.
Okay.
Nobody's ever rode him, including Dalen's got bucked off him twice.
Really? Okay. Okay.
And yeah, he got
What
rode.
did they mark him for? Do you remember?
I think they were like 87 or 88.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
He did well in the round. Yep.
Okay, good, good. Had the opportunity to see him. This was a few years ago down in Tennessee at the IPRA Finals. You hauled him down there, and I got a picture I found the other day of Dalen in a black IFR jacket. This is back when he's riding IPRA and IPRA and all that. He had actually competed there. I think he was that year, Sam. He was there in the bareback riding and the bull riding, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Okay. I got a great picture of him sitting with some young rodeo fans. So kind of this is where you're headed, my friend. These are going to be your fans. Here you go. It's already started. Now I want to talk about another Rawhide Rodeo bull called Monkey Wrench. Now this bull, this would be the early 2000s, Sam, when you had Monkey Wrench?
Yes, late 90s, early 2000s,
Yeah.
probably early 2000s.
Yeah. And talk a little bit about where you found this bull. We talk about breeding programs and born to buck programs. Where'd you find Monkey Wrench?
Well, it is kind of interesting story. I was put on a rodeo in July in Ellicottville, New York.
Mm-hmm.
And this man walked up to me and handed me his business card. He says, if you ever want some bucking bulls, give me a call. And, you know, here I am doing a rodeo in New York. And I thought, yeah, there's going to be a bunch of Herefords and Angus.
Right.
And, you know, I didn't even, you know, I took the card home and put it somewhere.
Yeah.
I didn't throw it out.
Yeah.
And it was snowing in February. I didn't have nothing to do. And I looked and looked and I found the card.
Okay.
And I said, well, I gave him a call and he said, yeah, I got some up here. Don't move. And I'm still thinking of Herefords and Angus.
Right.
I didn't even take the trailer with me.
Oh, wow.
Because
okay.
I thought this is a waste of time, but I didn't have anything to do, so let's do it.
Yeah.
And I walked in that barn, my mouth dropped open. I said, where the heck did you get these things? And lo and behold, he bought a bull, or his father bought a bull or something because he liked the look of them, from Dave Martin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
mm-hmm.
his name was Bone Crusher, that Dave bought at a buck and bull sale, was the highest selling bull at the sale. Mm-hmm. And they just bred things to him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there was humps and horns everywhere.
Right.
So I went up, I said, well, I'll bring the trailer. We've made a deal out of it, and I gave 10 cents over beef price.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Okay.
And I started loading the trailers and going home. But now, here it is February. You got nowhere. You got to feed these animals till
Right.
spring. You don't know what you got.
I mean, you didn't see anything buck. You just bought them based on their look.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And you said trailers. How many did you buy that day?
I brought 2 trailer loads that day. I probably bought probably 30 bulls that day.
30 bulls?
Yeah.
And how many did you leave behind?
There was still quite a few there.
Okay. 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 And all on looks and just generally athleticism that you could see?
Yeah. You know, you couldn't tell much. They were in small pens, and of course they were young.
Yeah.
And just scattered everywhere when you walked in there.
Okay.
You know, trying to get away from you.
Okay. Okay.
But that day I bought 2 trailer loads, and we started in the spring using them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was better than I could have imagined.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
It was, on the average, I paid, I don't know, Monkey Wrench was not in the first 2 loads. But when I figured out with a group of bulls that I bought monkey rents with,
Mm-hmm.
I paid $440 on the average for those bulls.
A piece for the bulls. Wow.
A piece. And now, get it, this was late 90s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the price of them was definitely a lot cheaper than it is today.
Oh, for sure. But they had no records. They had no outs. You didn't know anything about these bulls other than how they looked in the pen.
Right. So I figured worst case scenario, I lose 10 cents a pound on them.
You bet.
Because we weighed them after we loaded them.
Okay.
To see what I owed the guy.
Okay.
And best case scenario, I get something out of there that bucks, and then they'll put on enough weight through when I got them till I get rid of them that I won't lose any money. I'll probably make a little money.
Okay.
So, anyway, $440 on the average.
Wow.
Bull goes to the PBR Finals, the IPRA. Every monkey wrench, every time they buck that bull, except for at the PBR Finals when Cody Custard had them and started to buck off them, and the clown jumped in there because he thought he was on the ground, and the bull followed the clown and picked Cody right back up. He rode him. That's the only time that they rode that bull at a PBR, and they rode him quite a bit. He was very rider friendly. That they didn't win first on him.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And how he went to finals? He went to the finals?
Yep.
Okay.
He went to the PBR Finals.
PBR Finals. And wow.
Went to the IFR numerous times, and just, kind of a unique looking bull. His horns went backwards instead of up, and just very rider friendly. Had a lot of kick and just turned back right there.
Okay. One you wanted to draw out of the pen if you could choose one.
Guaranteed, because they won first on them at every PBR they bucked them at.
Absolutely.
That they rode them at, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Not that they bucked them at, but
that he rode them at.
Except for the finals.
Okay. Yeah. And then how did, gotta ask this, how do you name a bull monkey wrench?
Your question, it's as good as mine. A kid that was working for me at the time, he must have had a passion of naming bulls, and he named him Monkey Wrench. And I had a red bull that really bucked hard, very hard to ride, just no set pattern. He wanted you on the ground. He named him Flatline. He had a backdraft came out of that batch, and Untouchable, I named Untouchable because he was so crazy in the back pens. And there was another one that was a great bull, was named Wasik after the people that we bought all these bulls from. That was their last name.
You bet. And, so out of the 30 that you bought, how many just went on and were just made good or outstanding bucking bulls?
Well, that 30 was in the first trip.
First
I
trip.
kept going back
yeah,
and getting more trailer loads and more trailer loads before it was done.
Yeah.
So there was like Flatline was in the first batch, because I just picked out the bigger ones, when I'd go back, and he was rode twice in his life before he got old. Chris Shivers rode him once at the NARC finals, the first person to ever ride him, and Clinton Cessna rode him after that.
Okay.
And that was the only two guys to ride him in his prime. Now, as he got old, they did start riding him. But both, Chris Shivers, a PBR legend, and Clinton Cessna, which made the PBR finals, plus the IRA world champion. And
you bet.
But I would say out of those bulls, I had probably half ended up being good enough to take and use.
Wow.
At the rodeos. Maybe even more than that, maybe 3/4. But
really?
Probably a quarter of them
yeah.
were just a high elite kind of bull.
Yep.
And if hindsight's 2020. If I had known what I know now, he could have went and bought all those cows. He took them to the sale and said he wanted to be done with the crazy bulls.
Okay.
And he could have bought everything and really had a breeding program.
For beef price. For beef price.
For beef price. That's what they ended up going to the sale barn. And up here, when you put some Bramer in there at the sale barn, the price drops way off. It's not like out west where they bring more.
Yep.
But yeah, you could have bought them for pennies on the dollars what they were really worth.
Okay. Well, great stories.
I was a horse guy, not a bull guy.
I know. I get it, man. But that's pretty big odds. You picking that many bulls that went on and performed well for you. Some upcoming events. Of course, we got the AFR finals coming up here in just a few weeks. Friday, November 10th and 11th. Friday and Saturday, I should say, in the Garwood Arena in Columbiana, Ohio, south of Youngstown. If you have an opportunity to go out and check that out, they've got a great website. Of course, the AFR does. You can check out the Garwood Arena. They're online as well. I'll put that all in our listener notes. And then, Sam, I got to push in here. The NFR opens up in Las Vegas on Thursday, December 7th. It runs for 10 days through Saturday, December 16th. One of the announcers that does a lot up through the Northeast and over the years has done a lot. Roger Mooney is there. They got bullfighters Dusty Tuckness, Cody Webster, Nathan Justice, and barrelman John Harrison have been chosen. That's coming up. Are you going to the NFR this year, Sam? What are you thinking?
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a good reason to go with any of the boys that were mentored aren't going, so I'll watch it on TV.
Watch it on TV, absolutely. And then the IPRA finals, we talked about this last week. 4 days of rodeo starting January 11th, 2024, of course, in Lazy Arena in Guthrie, Oklahoma. We talk about technology in rodeo. We got that instant replay review challenge that's going to come in. We talked about last time we were together. So anxious to see that, excited to see that. And then, of course, we have one other one, which is the First Frontier Circuit Finals in Cowtown, New Jersey. Also January 11th, 12th, and 13th. A few things to note there. Some of the cowboys that we talk about and we follow in the First Frontier Circuit, which is, when we talk about circuits, there's regions throughout the United States that the PRCA divides up into, and that gives a cowboy that may live in Pennsylvania the ability to ride close to home or within his region, and then each circuit, each region has a finals, and then the winner of those finals goes to, used to be called the Dodge National Circuit Finals. I know it's got a new name. We'll have to get that next time we come together. You know what that name is, Sam?
Open. The NFR Open.
NFR Open, and that's in Colorado Springs, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we talked about Tim Kent. He has gone out to that Open a number of times, comes out of Pennsylvania. Clovis Crane, also out of Pennsylvania, number 1, number 4 in the bareback riding. And then in the saddle bronc riding, Clovis Crane again, out of Lebanon, Pennsylvania. And our man, Raymond Hotstetler, current number 4, within reach, Sam, if he has a nice finals, within reach of a First Frontier Circuit Finals Championship. So shifting to the Rawhide Rodeo crew, we talk about Raymond, number 1 in the American Professional Rodeo Association. He's going to be headed to the finals. Number 9 in the IPRA standings. He'll be headed in January, and he's got a decision to make, doesn't he? He can go the IPRA, the IFR finals, or he goes to the First Frontier Circuit of the PRCA, but he has to make a choice unless we get him an airplane and try to figure out some pretty fancy things. What do you hear of Raymond? What do you think his choice is going to be, IFR versus First Frontier Circuit?
I'm not sure. He's still on the fence, and yes, airplane doesn't help because they're at the same time. It doesn't work, and he's on the fence as far as I know what he's going to do. He's kind of torn, but if I was predicting, he'd probably go to the first frontier circuit. He's should have been a dad, another dad
Oh,
a couple days ago,
I see. I
but
see.
she still hasn't had it yet. And
Okay. Okay.
I think he'll probably stay close to
Stay
home.
close to home.
But that's just me thinking,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's a very good family man,
Yep.
and I'm so proud of that.
Yep.
Especially because he married my niece, so I don't have to whoop on him if he's
Right.
not
Right.
good.
Right.
Uh, but so proud of what he does, and I think he'll probably stay to the circuit finals.
Okay. Okay.
But no guarantees.
I understand. Understand. Okay. And then Eli, number 3 in the APRA, number 7 in the IPRA standings. We know he was at the Mid-States Finals last time we talked. Got kicked after he made his ride, kicked in the head by the bronc. What are you hearing about Eli? What's he thinking?
He's doing a lot better. He's been cleared to drive as of yesterday or the day before when I talked to him.
Oh, wow.
So he's doing better, and I think he'll be back for the IFR. I don't think he'll be back for the AFR. And yeah, he's coming along good. Thank God, because it was pretty bad. The people I talked to thought he was not going to make it.
You bet.
So
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well,
pretty scary watching it,
scary.
I guess.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Thoughts and prayers continue to go to him. Send him some of that healing energy.
Thank you for the people that have.
You bet. You bet. Absolutely. And then finally, Colton. What's he up to? Back home, where is he? We know he was in Mississippi, won the Slam Fest Open Championship. That was a few weeks ago. What are you hearing?
Colton went last weekend to Florida and competed.
Okay.
And I think he went to 2 rodeos. He didn't place in one. He won third at another. And I was kind of surprised when I found out he went. I said, well, who'd you go with? He said, well, I went by myself. And I said, oh, that's a long ways to go by yourself. It's probably, depending on where in Florida, 18, 20 hours. And
yeah. Wow.
No, I think he just wanted to go and keep his focus on where it needs to be. So I'm proud of what he went out there and did well.
Okay. Excellent. Yep. Excellent. Well, we keep cheering him on, watching from afar. Yeah, excited about what he's up to. Does he still have the horses? You bought a bunch of horses he was working.
Yes, he sold one.
Okay.
And he still has some others. He called me. He was on one, and he was so excited. This is a nice colt. And for Colton to call me out of the blue to say that, he must have really been excited.
Horse stood out for him. Okay.
So, yeah, he said, I don't know what his plans are with it, but he said it's a nice horse. So
you bet.
He's good with a horse, really good.
Good. That's excellent. And we had talked at one point, maybe we learn a little bit more about the breeding of these horses, where he thinks these horses are going to be headed, whether timed event horses, pleasure horses, whatever the case may be. I know they're all gaming horses, I believe, all work horses, right?
Yeah, they're either bred to run where I bought them from, or bred as ranch horses, cowboy horses, more roping end and steer wrestling and that aspect. But they have the good bloodlines. And the one Colton was so excited about had a mixture. He had Firewater breeding, which is the girl number 4 in the world. It goes back in the barrel race at the NFR this year. She won the college national championship, the Matthews girl. It goes back to their stud, which is barrel racing breeding, and has cow work on the other side. So it's got a little bit of mixture in that one, and that's the one he was excited about.
You bet. Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, Sam, I think that brings us to an end here, unless you've got anything else you want to report out.
No, I think we've covered a lot.
Yeah. Well, we do. And I so enjoy these conversations. I really enjoy your analysis and how you're looking at things. You bring great perspectives to what we're doing. And to our listeners, we hope that you enjoy our podcast as much as Sam and I enjoy doing it. If you do, please share it with your friends. Help us spread the word. Share it on Facebook. This will be our 39th episode when we put this up. To make your listening easier, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music. Search for Beyond the Chutes and follow us. Remember, check out the New York State Rodeo Museum Facebook group page and become a member. It is what started this show. All the great memories and history that the New York State Rodeo Museum Facebook group page has. Check them out. And we'd like to say thank you to ParaSight Systems for their support with our podcast. You can find them at ParasightSystems.com. They now have testing that can be conducted in Canada for all of our Canadian listeners. BTC 023 to save 50% off your specimen kits, as we talked earlier. A very easy process. Get them packed up, get them in the mail, get your results, and know exactly what it is that you're aiming for. And Sam, this is Beyond the Chutes. Until next time, this is Doug Simcox.
And Sam Swearingen.
Thank you for listening. Hope everybody has a great day.